The other molecule that we make that's extremely important for social bonds and emotionality is one that we're going to talk about more in the month on hormones, and that's vasopressin. Vasopressin has effects on the brain directly. It actually creates feelings of giddy love. It also has very interesting effects on monogamous or non-monogamous behavior. This, again, we will revisit in the future, but there's a beautiful set of experiments that have been done in a little rodent species called a prairie vole. There's a theory of emotional development that I find particularly interesting, which is from Alan Shore at UCLA, that talks about how most of our testing of bonds and relationships is this seesawing back and forth between very dopaminergic, so driven by dopamine, or serotonergic, driven by serotonin states. And this starts with infant and mother, or infant and father. Healthy emotional development clearly begins with an ability for the caretaker and child to be in calm, peaceful, soothing, touch-oriented, eye-gazing type of behaviors. Those really drive serotonin, the endogenous opioid system, oxytocin, things that are very calming and are centered around pleasure with the here and now, as well as excited states of what we're going to do next. There's actually a kind of characteristic sign of the dopaminergic interaction where both caretaker and child are wide-eyed, the pupils dilate, that's a signature of arousal, they get really excited. And the four things are gaze, literally eye contact, vocalizations, so what we say and how we say it, affect or emotion, so the way that we express, crying, smiling, etc., and touch. But gaze, vocalization, affect, and touch are really the core of this thing that we call social bonds and emotionality. You start off with this interoceptive bias. You are starting to develop expectations, predictions about how the outside world is going to work, and you are trying to figure out the reliability of outside events and people. And where things are reliable, when people are reliable, we are able to give up more of our interoception. There's literally trust that our interoceptive needs, our internal needs, will be met through bonds and actions of others. We can't have a complete conversation about emotions and bonds and social connection without talking about oxytocin. Oxytocin has come to such prominence in the last decade or so and seems to be everywhere. Anytime you hear a discussion about neuroscience in the brain or hormones in the brain, oxytocin is released in response to lactation in females. It is released in response to sexual interactions. It is released in response to non-sexual touch. It's released in males and females. And indeed, it's involved in pair bonding and the establishment of social bonds in general.